Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a guest named Sabina, and she's going to talk to us about her journey with bipolar and everything surrounding it. So without further ado, hello Sabina, how are you?
I'm great, thanks for asking. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. So we were just talking before we hit record here, and you were mentioning about videos that you watched. So I didn't mean to cut you off and interrupt you there, but
That's okay. So I was saying how I checked out your story, and I had very similar experiences to you, but not so extreme as in the physical health aspect. You had other health issues as well,
yeah,
other than the bipolar, which can also definitely put more strain on the bipolar as well. I think when you have multiple illnesses at the same time.
very much so, yeah.
But yeah, I think it was it's an incredible story, and thank you for sharing that,
Yeah,
because it really helps others in their journey when they hear other people's stories. Which
big
is
time.
why I think what we're doing here, what you're doing, having these conversations is so important to break stigmas in the community, the mental health community, and to also have discussions about solutions, alternatives. People need information, and I think a lot of the problems around the bipolar is that we don't have enough information, or we don't seek it out, and aren't constructive about our personal healing journey.
Yeah,
And I
100%.
didn't really take it seriously in the past, but now I am. I'm starting to understand that, oh wow, it really affects every aspect of your life.
Big time. All right, so let's dive into this then. Sabina, when did this all occur for you, right from the very beginning stages of, before we even talk about the diagnosing, like, what were you feeling before that came to be? And, how'd you feel about it? Like, what were I guess what I'm asking is, like, what did you feel triggered what they call the bipolar disorder?
Well, it was multiple things. At that time, I was in university and I was 22 years old. So that's when I had my first episode psychosis.
Okay.
Um, and I've never shared this story in public, but to hell with
Well,
it.
this is what I say too about, opening up. It is quite difficult, and it's not for the faint of heart. You're exposing your authentic self to the world, and it's bare, it's raw, and I mean, if people don't jive with that, then they're gonna have to skip off onto another channel because this shit is just real, and I love it, right? So
Amazing. I love it too. I love the raw truth, and it's a beautiful thing.
yeah, it
Beautiful
is.
thing what you're putting together.
Thank you.
So yeah, in university I was my third year maybe, I think. Anyways, I was 22 years old. Um, and I never had any diagnostic of any mental illness or anything like that beforehand, but then I had that breakdown. And it was a very traumatizing experience for me. I didn't speak for 4 months. So,
Wow.
or like properly. It was as if I was so confused and so delusional and psychotic that I couldn't operate, you know?
Okay. So
So for me, it wasn't a pleasant experience, and I understand that psychosis is not a pleasant experience for
not at
anyone.
all. Not at
And that's
all.
why I think that it's incredible to even survive it.
Yeah, it's I don't even know how to compare it to anything else, to be honest, because it's so unique in its own essence, and
And it's
you
unique
know,
for everybody, and everybody's
exactly,
experience is so different. So
big
to
time.
diagnose something like this is like really difficult. So I know how it's challenging for doctors to kind of help us. Like they mean well, but for sure they don't know how to help. We just have to help ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I found that once you start unpeeling those layers or unraveling those layers of what you've gone through, and dive deep into yourself, it feels like a lost cause because ultimately all you're doing is medicating and band-aiding to more or less get through each and every day, and it's fucking tough to do that, right? And if you can't be brutally honest with yourself, how are you going to be honest with the person in front of you who's trying to help you in terms of a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, whatever, right? Um, yeah, it's a doozy, man. Um, and it's not easy to break through or to have a breakthrough without the support of others around you. Um, I never really had the proper support all the years coming up myself, but I'm not going to shine the light on me. This is your story, Sabina, right?
Oh no, I like the back and forth. I think we have a shared story. I mean, all of our journeys are interconnected, I think, when we're helping each other heal and share. I call this like talk therapy, what we're doing. Whenever you share a
Yeah.
story, it's like, or your personal story, it's kind of like therapeutic,
Hmm.
because you release some of that internalized energy, the negative ones, and you're able to heal that and
Yeah.
resolve it. And
Yeah, I
having
agree.
discussions are healthy because when I converse with other people, I can make connections, and my brain, it feels like it grows. It's like
Yeah.
it expands, right?
Yep.
So it's really healthy to have conversations, and the back and forth is okay with me. If you want to
Yeah.
add
All
any
right. Cool.
more comments, I think it makes it more interesting too, because I'm
Yeah.
hearing your side as well, your
Yeah.
perspective.
Nice. Man, I like that. I think that's a good way to exchange information, stories,
Yeah,
so that we can both grow
for
exponentially, right?
for sure.
Perfect, man.
Yeah, so for me, my experience was for sure unique. Everybody's is unique. I try not to think about it too often, but it's always there. It's something that kind of shapes you. I think. Um, but I know that bipolar is broad though, and not everybody has psychosis. I'm still learning about it.
Hmm.
Recently started learn about it.
Okay.
Um, and I'm struggling with it, but I'm no longer on my medications. It would be about a year exactly that I stopped taking my meds.
Heck yeah, man.
Um, so I'm trying to manage it, and because I have a really good support network, a lot of people that love and care for me and coach me on a daily basis, almost, I'm constantly reading. I have my books here that I was gonna show you guys,
For
but
sure.
yeah, the ones that help me on my journey and can definitely, if they've helped me, and you've read Eckhart Tolle too,
Oh yeah, big
they've
time.
helped you decide, identify with your stuff, right?
Yep.
Your
Something that's relatable for sure.
mhm,
Yeah.
because I find like I was so identified. I was in the victimhood state and the why me phase for many years,
Yeah.
many years. It's been 10 years. I'm 32 now.
Hmm.
I got I had that first episode in at 22,
Hmm.
and then I never had a psychosis again, but I had multiple like mini little like emotional kind of breakdowns where I wasn't happy or whatnot, and I wasn't doing my best.
Yeah. Could you
um
almost chalk that up to basically saying that it's more or less how you function in society as just a human being, or do you think it's relatable to the actual diagnosing that they call bipolar?
what do you mean? Can you elaborate a little bit? I'm not.
Sure. Like basically, you know how we all get upset, we get our ups and downs. Did you feel like you were on a different vibrational frequency of negativity during those times that you felt like maybe the world was crushing you, like your bad days? Do you think it was related to the bipolar disorder,
Oh,
or do you think it was
100%.
just yeah? Okay.
Well, it was related to also the psychosis, because if the psychosis is not resolved, and I haven't resolved mine, and pretty sure uh, until you get lots of therapy, or I don't know if they say that it's not curable, right? So we're
Yeah.
in like kind of muddy terrain here where we're not sure about anything, right?
Yeah, but we're gonna dive into
Okay.
that pretty heavy too.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna hold
That's
on
right.
to that for a bit.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my highs and my lows, my low points where I landed back in the hospital, because I've been in and out of hospital multiple times.
Okay.
And but it wasn't like psychosis. My first psychosis, I should have been hospitalized, but because I didn't understand what was happening, I didn't even understand that I was going through psychosis, right? I didn't even know,
What
right?
about the people around you? Like, did
They
they
were
have?
telling me, but I didn't understand what it was
Yeah.
until like 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
Oh,
five
that's a
weeks,
long time, man, to
6 weeks.
suffer too, eh?
Yeah, it was really bad. Mine was
Yeah.
not. I didn't
Yeah.
think I would survive it. I didn't even know I was gonna. I thought every night I was like, that was my last night.
Now,
So I
if
would tell my parents that every night.
okay, so if it's not going to trigger anything, can we go into the depths of that by chance, Sabina? Are you comfortable doing so?
I've healed it enough where I might feel a little bit of emotion,
Okay.
but I've healed it enough where I will be able to speak from a higher vantage point.
Nice.
I have come so far in my journey and to love myself, to try to love myself, to work on myself, to not be identified so much with that old self,
Yeah.
but I'm
Exactly.
still in kind of between my old self, and birthing into my new self. I think I have birthed into a new self, but I'm still on that developmental, well, as we all are
Yeah.
in our
Exactly.
journey,
Yep.
transforming at every stage and every level of our lives, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's dive into that quickly then. What you were experiencing, like I know it's difficult to even put it into physical words in
Right.
any given language. I still have a difficult time articulating it to express a story in phrases, and but we'll do our best regardless, man. You know.
Yeah. So my brain gets very scattered sometimes. It's probably the bipolar thing. I was watching a documentary yesterday, it called Bill's Brain, or it was the Bill Gates brain or whatever.
Oh
And I
yeah.
just saw like the first few seconds of it, and he's like, he's a multi-processor. And then I clicked right away, and I'm like, wow, we're all multi-processors. We're processing so much information constantly, and I think a bipolar brain overworks,
Oh yeah. Big time.
and that's what happens. We're working at like a really fast speed, and
Yeah.
that's why we have the racing thoughts. I'm trying to actually understand it because this is my personal life, right?
Well,
Like
yeah.
journey and
Yeah.
experience. So, um, yeah, that's why I'm so fascinated with like other people's stories as well. But I've come to realize that everybody's story is really different and really unique, but has similar elements.
Yeah. And that's what we can kind of latch on to, gravitate to, in order to feel like there's comfort in sharing our stories. For me
It's part of the
myself,
healing to share it.
oh, it is most definitely. For me, when I was, well, I guess before I was hospitalized, I was feeling very panicked,
Yeah, I
anxiety
had
up
that. Yeah,
through the fucking roof. Like it
right.
was intense.
Me too.
Sleeping issues galore.
Yeah,
I was lucky to get maybe 2 hours of sleep a night.
right.
Just holding on my blankets, squeezing them, going, "What the fuck is even happening?" Like you,
Yeah.
until somebody experiences
Wow.
it, even hearing
Yeah.
a story isn't really feasible. It's like
Mm,
comparing it to fuck knows what, but it was just a living nightmare, and
yeah.
I never felt like I could get any relief
Yeah.
until I was hospitalized, because I guess maybe it
Okay.
felt like all my problems were put on hold and
Pause.
paused for a minute, right? Yeah, and I could just take care of myself. But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like the idea of taking these damn pills. They were coming up with these little containers with new pills all the time. Say, well, try this, try that. Here,
Mm-hmm.
Matt. Felt
Yes.
like I
Yes.
was being coddled like a baby. And
Yeah.
I guess you are in a very,
Vulnerable state.
yeah, big time, right? And I was in the hospital for like 4 months or more. And I just remember being spoon fed these meds. And I don't think it was really making a massive difference. I mean, I'm 3 years without now, and I feel much better not having a clouded, foggy brain and you know, difficult time operating. It's still coursing through my body. I believe even after 3 years, like there's a lot of those poisons still connected to my tissues, and I'm
Oh, wow.
disposing it and dispersing it slowly. But I mean, it's done a lot of damage to me, right? So
Immense.
yeah, yeah, and I never had a clear understanding of the whole bipolar, everything surrounding it, probably for at least the first 5 years after being diagnosed. Just taking the pills, going to therapy, and thinking, okay, this is it. You know, all the ideas and dreams and hopes and everything I could have manifested then I don't feel I have the gumption, the ambition, the drive. I just feel like a sloth on pills, gaining how can I put it, a massive, large amount of weight and quickly. Like I was ballooning. I'm a small frame dude, and I packed on like, fuck man, I was up to 240 pounds, right? And you know damn well that's hurting your organs in different ways. It's not just the
Oh yeah,
poisons,
no.
but like cholesterol, blood pressure. I mean, I was probably looking at a heart attack if I didn't, start getting myself under wraps and taking care of myself.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up, but
Well, no, look at you now. That's the journey,
yeah,
right?
it is, right?
Self-development is so important. It's self-transformation.
Yeah,
Um, it saves your life.
it does, right? But you have to be willing and accepting the accountability on your end and take the first step to initiate that. Otherwise, you're just going to be stagnant, staying in that, vibe of victim victimhood. That mentality is like, oh, poor me. You can't be like that forever. We all have our stories, each and every one of us, with or without a diagnosing, but you
It
just
just takes
can't.
time, I think, to realize that you have the power to change your life.
Yeah, I think so. And
Because when you're
sometimes you
in
need a
a
boost.
really negative and
Right.
depressed state, you can't think properly for yourself,
That's true.
and you're not having enough positive thoughts to be able to give you the energy to be able to do the things to transform your life.
Yeah, yeah. But I also believe that you probably won't get to a point in your life where you feel you can do that until you hit rock bottom and you're utterly disgusted with it, knowing that you just can't thrive like that anymore.
It's true.
And it is difficult on your own. Luckily, I had the support system of my family, seeing me going through the changes and the phases within those 3 years, even like the last 3 years. And it's still a steady climb to the summit too. I'm never going to reach the top. I'm cool with that. It's just a learning experience each and every day, right? And to better myself so that I can be a
Right.
better version of myself, for
Yeah.
myself, and for everyone around me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard that self-awareness is really important in this illness because we have to be extra careful to manage ourselves. Otherwise, we will end up sick.
Yeah. And I think that goes for anybody, in all honesty. We spoke before on the phone about adrenal burnout, right? Like when your adrenals get tapped out and they can't, you know, keep it going anymore. A lot of the world over is suffering from that right now as we speak. They're putting in too many hours at work, taking on too many jobs, too many tasks, whatever it may be. And, you mentioned earlier in our conversation,
Experiencing burnout is so common in the
oh, yeah,
workplace.
it's crazy. And this is why people need breaks. And then they wonder why, they can't keep up with the pace anymore, right? You can only handle so much. We weren't meant to live, you know, Mach fucking 10, man.
We're not robots.
No, exactly,
We're
right?
not robots. We're not
But
machines.
let's dive into the whole origin of what we think this bipolarism really is, like the honest truth of what both our viewpoints are on the matter, and see if we come to a similarization in it. I'll let you go ahead first, though.
Well, the thing is, I think it's so complex to find an origin is is very difficult. I haven't studied it, right, from a psychology standpoint. I read books on consciousness and
Mm-hmm.
how to create like a, let's just say, positive mental attitude
Yeah.
and stuff like that, right? But you know, something like schizophrenia, where like for me it was to me it was supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you can't really, I mean, like how do you find an origin for that? How do you know like who's gonna experience that and who's not? You know?
Yeah.
How do you know like who's gonna have that, out of this world experience that cannot be explained, right? And for me, I really don't know. For myself personally, all I can speak is my experience.
Yeah.
Everybody's
That's
different,
right.
right? Some people never have psychosis. Some people never, have the voices, right? Um, so for me, it was a miracle for me to even have. I thought when I was going through that for like extended periods. Um, I thought that was my new life, my new me.
And how did you
That
feel
I
during that manic
it was the
episode?
it was the most horrible feeling. I didn't want to live like that. I'm like, I'm not me anymore.
Right.
I don't want to be this forever.
So you didn't have like an elevated way of being like that. Um,
I was
you,
always super confident, super
mhm.
energetic, super outgoing, you know,
Oh,
but
before you crashed, you
during
mean? Yeah,
before I
yeah.
had that
Okay.
breakdown,
Yeah,
and then when I had that breakdown, it was caused by circumstantial things.
yeah. In the
Uh,
external world, right?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, like relationships, and it was. I don't really want to go into that,
No, that's fine.
you know, it was just certain things triggered it, and then it was also not sleeping. I was staying up late, forcing myself to stay up late to write my paper for my midterm,
Hmm.
or was it October? No, it was in December for final. For the final, it was in December. So that was during university. I was staying up late. I was writing my paper, and that's when it hit. And I landed in the hospital. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. I just didn't sleep all night. The first night,
Okay.
I thought things were happening. I didn't know what was happening. Kept seeing. I was having dreams, crazy dreams. I kind of blame it on the dreams because the dreams led to one to the another, and then I
Okay.
just went through this psychotic trip for the
So
next 4 months.
I'll
And
interject
that
for a
whole
minute.
time, I was dreaming crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's what I want to touch base on. I'll interject with a couple of questions in regards to your dreams. Do you feel like they're more or less maybe visions of your future and what you were, like what your calling was in this world, and to maybe manifest that dream into reality, or do you think it was just some wacko woo woo stuff that was just
Well, some dreams were from positive forces, and some dreams were from negative.
okay? So
Okay.
polarity. I
So
mean,
I believe in supernatural entities, or like, let's just say, like other dimensional entities. Not everybody believes in that stuff, but my personal experience has made it hard for me not to believe in it. So I do.
okay. Did you want to dive down that rabbit hole for a minute?
Mm, well, yes, let's talk about it.
Okay, cool. Let's do
Why
it.
not? I'm not scared of it anymore. I
No,
was terrified for months, right?
and mainly
Yeah.
probably because it was the unknown, and that's the thing that fears a lot of people. You operate on that level of fear simply because you don't understand something. It's a mystery, and because it's unknown to you, it's just mind-boggling. And the first thing we want to do is raise a defense to it, right? So let's dive into that for a second, Sabina.
Okay, so for me, are we talking about voices? Like for
No,
you, did you
you
experience that?
I did, but I was just wanting to touch base on your dreams, like if you thought they're actual
Okay.
visions or nightmarish dreams that just
Ooh,
were,
I had the
yeah.
nightmares. I had the nightmares, and that was definitely making me think I was being possessed by demons.
Okay. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because I'm making a correlation with, you know, the Bibles that are out there that are saying that all these prophets and whatnot were having visions, dreams of something that was forthcoming in the future. So I thought maybe perhaps that could have been the incident that was happening with you, the experiences you had.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Because when you always say deja vu, it's like, oh fuck, I was here
Oh,
before.
man.
We had this conversation before, right? That's what brings me to that
Wow, you know what's
conclusion.
crazy? I've been having a lot of deja vus lately. And then just yesterday, I was thinking, damn, I think I've dreamt my whole life at some point or something. And I was thinking
Yeah.
that yesterday.
Well,
But
that's
anyways,
yeah. That's what I mean, right? Like,
e- my dreams at that time weren't like deja vu. Um, they were they were definitely about the future. I would see a lot of high tech, future tech. A lot of my ideas
hmm,
in my creative work are actually inspired by my dreams that I dreamt. Like I have a
perfect.
song called Spaceship. It's not released yet, but I've seen, oh my God, one of the things that I saw was flying saucers. Like I boarded one. And it was, and I would dream like a lot of things during that period, but I never had dreams like that again. It was
Okay.
just during that psychosis period.
Yeah, and that's what I found too. Like, I've always wanted to tap back into that, and it seems impossible. I mean, I smoke weed, and that's about it. But I mean, like, I've never been
But
able
I would
to.
never want to experience psychosis again. I don't get, like,
Well, yeah,
because
it's
of
it's
how
it's a little
bad it
too
was.
dark, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like I
but
didn't talk for for 4 months because I was so traumatized.
well, yeah, I felt the same too. But that's what's brought us to this point in our life now. Like, we had
Right.
to go through that
Right.
massive hardship before we can
Right.
get over the hurdles and get to where
Yeah.
we are today to express it to everyone else. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I was talking about the origin of the bipolar, like, from a Western side viewpoint on this, it's simply something that's genetic, environmental, and I get it that yes, cells are passed down through the gene pool and blah blah blah, and externals that seem to crank you out a little too much can stress you out and put you in psychosis. But if that was simply the case, that let's say we'll take the genetic side right out of it, right out of the equation, and it was environmental. Well, fuck, man. Everybody would have bipolar or schizophrenia if that be the case then, because we all get stressed out with life and the ups and
Yeah.
downs of the
And the world is,
expectations, right?
yeah, and the world is quite toxic.
Yeah, of course it is. So I'm thinking perhaps the reason why, I don't want to say the chosen people, because that sounds kind of fucking weird, but when it does, it's like too far out there, man. But more or less, like, it's looking through a different set of lens by
Lens,
having this diagnosing, right?
for
And I
sure.
don't like putting labels to anything. I don't like
Oh
saying
my God.
I have bipolar,
Hmm.
or my peers have bipolar, schizophrenia.
Right.
I got friends and
Right.
family that are diagnosed too, and
Hmm.
I still find that it's a story that we've been told to believe and to integrate into our being, our essence, and make it who you are. And I don't think that's appropriate, because that keeps you at a standstill. And how are you going to grow as an individual if you're just going to tell yourself the same bullshit story and
Same
take pills?
story.
Yeah,
We believe
right?
the stories we're told,
Yeah,
but
we
they're
do.
not always true.
No.
Right. We
So,
can, we create our reality. And that was my breakthrough. That was when I went from victim to creator,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, you've only got two
Because,
choices,
yeah,
right? You know? That's like, say, if you were drowning, like you were lost out to sea or something, you could easily give up and say, whatever, man, just let the good graces of God take me, or whatever. Or you can, try to strive to survive. And I think that's just in our nature, anyways, to continuously push on and push on, right? But it's that negative way of being and thinking that keeps you locked into that victimhood. Like, oh, poor me. At least I.
self-limiting beliefs,
Well, yeah,
fear-based
right.
thinking.
That's all it
And
is, man.
and
And
and the thing is that's not just a bipolar or thing.
no,
That's just
that's for
like a
everybody,
human
man.
thing. It's
Yep.
a human thing.
Yeah, because we're all walking around. I don't give a shit who the fuck you are out there. I'm telling you right now, man, you look in the mirror every fucking day, and I guarantee you're insecure, you're calling out on yourself, but you're going to armor yourself and plate yourself when you go out the door, man, and act like you're all hoorah, brah, and, you've got the world by, you know, the fucking tail or whatever. It's bullshit. Like, we've all got healing to do. We all have insecurities and, problematic issues. We all do. And the only way you're going to get through it is to push on, to love yourself. I mean, there's all kinds of practices that I speak about on the podcast all the time, right? But it just takes that one little baby step, man, to get you in that right direction. 10 things become a habit, and it's a routine, right? But you have to be willing to.
To
Because
put in the
let's
work.
face it,
It's hard work. It's
it is. It
self-discipline.
is. It's very difficult. I'm not saying by any means it's a simple formula you can just place together and voila, there you
No,
are.
no, no. It's a lot of willpower,
Yeah.
and I haven't even achieved that kind of willpower to be able to plan out my days every day and be
Hmm.
optimized and optimal and be, doing healthy things, healthy habits, eating
Yep.
habits, cutting out the toxins like the smoking and the drinking and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's self-development is a lifelong thing. We can't be hard on ourselves, that because that's counterproductive, right? Then you're not
No.
loving yourself, But
Yeah.
then in the sense that hard on yourself is in like being honest with yourself and being like, okay, these are harming me. because I've been listening to TED Talks and stuff about the brain and stuff, and I'm learning more and more and more. And what we do when we use drugs and alcohol and all of that stuff, it creates holes in our brain. So our brains, we're obviously going to, suffer more if we don't take care of our brain, right?
Yeah.
And you got to feed it with knowledge, with books, good books,
Positivity. Yeah.
positivity, because if you're just constantly filling it with junk, you're gonna just get more junk,
Yeah.
and it's just, that's what I realized when I realized that I need to really take care of my brain, and I have to take extra care of my brain more than the average person.
Well, yeah, especially when you've gone through something. It's much like I always bring up a reference, a broken ankle I have here. It's not broken now. Obviously, it's mended. This is almost eight months into it, I believe. But I had to take care of that extra due diligence to ensure I didn't do more damage. And the same thing goes for your brain. You know, it's malleable. Naturally, you're gonna break it if you want to put it in those terms, or you're gonna hurt yourself. And you're sitting at the bottom. You get a label. You're diagnosed. You're taking pills. But then you have to start giving it nurturing love and attention, much like you would a plant or an animal or a loved one or whatever, what have you, right? Um, so hopefully, with these podcasts, that's kind of what we're pushing out there for people to realize that it's not all grim, gloom, and darkness on the end of this. There is light at the end of the tunnel, so to
For
say.
sure. I wish somebody told me that when I was going through my 4-month period of complete chaos, where I didn't speak. I wish somebody had told me, "Hey, Sabina, you're gonna survive this. You're not dying." Because I literally told my parents every night that I'm not waking up.
Yeah,
Because
I
that's how
felt the same.
severe it was.
I know.
Because
It's tough.
I believed it, and every 2 weeks I went to the psychiatrist, and I would tell him, "Well, this is the last time I'm seeing you," and he would just look at me, and same story again. 2 weeks
Yeah.
later, I'm seeing him again in the office. And then I'm like, "Oh, I was wrong about last time, but this time." And he's
I
just like,
know, right?
"Good job."
Yeah.
But I couldn't process reality at that time.
No.
I can laugh about it now because to me, I find it as dark as it was, I can laugh about it. And for me, that's my way of healing. Like, I can joke about it, I can laugh about it.
Yeah, realizing you've gotten through
Completely,
the roughest parts
you
of it,
know,
right?
right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't my brain was so fearful. I think it's the fight or flight thing that it
Yep.
does, that
Parasympathetic.
it's just jumping everywhere and believing everything that it's thinking of, you
Yes.
know?
So it's more like,
And so all your conspiracy theories in your head about what's happening and what's going on, you don't know because you're in the storm. You don't
yeah,
have that vantage point,
that's right.
to be able to look down at the facts as to
Yeah.
what's going on.
It almost feels like, to me, when somebody goes through a psychosis like that all the negative stuff they've ever had to endure and they've lodged in their muscles, their tissues, their brain, whatever, just becomes explosive and they're left with it and they're
Yeah.
looking at almost a slideshow, if you will. That's just all these memories
Yes.
flooding you like crazy and you're like, fuck, I can't
Yeah.
take it,
Yeah.
man, right? And I was
Yeah.
suicidal for the
It's
longest
that's
while
for sure.
with all that. I remember staying with my sister when I was like 18, 19, going through my shit. And I was like, man,
Wow.
I can't do this anymore. I just want to knock off. And I would talk myself every day through this, like, okay, I got one more day. Tomorrow's going to be the day I'm going to knock myself off. I can't do this anymore, right? And I went through an experience where I attempted suicide and wasn't obviously successful because here I am. But,
Oh my God, thank God.
well, yeah, it shook up the whole family.
Crazy.
And
I'm so sorry.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm
well,
so sorry to hear.
it was a breakup with an ex, and just the lifestyle that I led up to that point, I felt like there was uh, no light at the end of of this story. I thought this is it. It's better to be gone than to suffer and endure. And I don't think I touched base on that in other podcasts, but I took a bunch of pills, tried to slice my wrist in the bathtub,
Oh
and
my God.
yeah, it was pretty fucked up. My nephew found me. He was only 3 at the
Oh
age. Yeah,
no.
so he's calling up the mummy like, Uncle Matt's not waking up, and I'm laying in a towel, fucking
Oh my God.
spread eagle on the bed, man, with a cigarette, like sitting in my fingertips in the ashtray and snoring like a
That's
pig, right? And
insane.
yeah, the doctors told the family, they said, if he was a little older, his heart wouldn't have survived. So at that point, when I came to, I was actually clinically dead, and they brought me back. But I think that
Oh God.
for me to come back the way I did and everything I endured, it had to be for a solid reason. We're all here for a purpose, not just fucking coincidental. Oh, you're born, live in a human meat puppet and get on with it. Like, you have a mission in life. We all do. It's our souls. If you want to tap into it and, understand it, well, be one with yourself, meditate and whatnot. But at that point in time, you're just young, foolish, and it's almost like, have you ever been woken up, and I'm sure you have, I think we can all relate, woken up in the middle of a night, whether to a stirred dream or somebody abruptly wakes you up, you don't know where the fuck you are for the minute, right? And that's how I felt each and every day leading up to my suicide attempt, just like, fuck, I don't know where I belong, what I'm supposed to do. And I didn't have the material back then to understand how to take care of myself and nurture myself. There wasn't a lot of exposure about that. Yeah, it was just go, 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 go until you can't anymore.
Before the internet, was at our
Yeah.
fingertips where we could research and find out stuff
Yeah,
and help
exactly.
ourselves.
Yeah, it's a great tool. People bitch about it all the time, saying, "Oh, technology sucks. It's overtaken our humanity and the way we used to operate." But at the same time, it
No,
allows us to do
it's a
this stuff,
revolutionary
right?
tool,
Yeah, man, for
right?
sure.
It's advanced us at a rate that we could never have possibly imagined.
Yeah, for
It's a
certain.
disruptive technology.
If you allow it, I say the same thing with anything in life. If you don't have a moderate way of being, whether it's food, the way you indulge in things, well then, it can be a problematic issue. But again, I like to utilize everything to benefit myself and the things I, enjoy
It's
in
a
life.
tool.
Well, yeah,
It's meant to be used,
yeah,
For
exactly.
sure, for sure. And that's the beauty of now, where we are. Like people, like we met on a Facebook page.
Hmm.
So this is what the internet is doing. It's
Yeah,
connecting people. We're not isolated anymore the way that we were in the past. We might think, "Oh, I'm alone. I'm the only bipolar person." No, you're not. You can find your
yeah,
people.
my
That's
God,
what happened to me. I met and I was
shit.
like, "Oh my God, there's 50,000 of
I
you."
know, right? It's crazy.
What?
Well, it makes
I
you feel like you got a
know.
tribe,
Yeah.
As I mentioned back in those days, we didn't have the tools that we could use today. It was sitting by yourself with your own thoughts and going, shit. Meanwhile, you watch your life flood by you with all the peers you grew up with doing their things, and they're getting jobs and making a fucking place in the world that's benefiting them, and you're stuck there going, right, what do I do? Yeah, so it's pretty cool when you actually get out there and talk with people, and I'm fucking glad. Thanks, Angeli. That's my naturopathic doctor. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing this right now. I wouldn't say that I would be stuck in that stagnant poison that I was in years past, but this has made me thrive as an individual, and to have my story shed out, to the public, and to hear their stories as well. It's been a definite blessing all the way around for sure.
So you're on a natural, med-free path.
Yeah, yeah,
So am I. And that's so
damn, man.
rare. It's
Yeah.
so rare in our community. And I didn't realize it until I joined it.
Well, that's why I tossed out the first podcast. I sent out there to people in a status was, does anybody who's been bipolar would like to podcast with me? And I had, I got I think 50, 60 different comments. People were thrilled about it. And I was like, okay. So I had a few of them. Some people forgot. I mean, lives get busy, and if I'm not, initiating a reminder, it's going to be difficult to keep that on schedule. But I also tossed out recently about non-medicated individuals, and see if they'd like to have a podcast. And some people were kind of thrown off by that. They're like, well, wait a minute. What about my story? And I was like, well, I already did that, but I don't mind having a collaboration of both anyways. I think everyone should be able to speak. And who knows, maybe I can get other people doing podcasts too. I mean, fuck, this isn't just solely for me. It's not my platform alone. We're working as a collective whole, doing this together to heal together, right? But I had,
Right. Well, it's important to share stories across the spectrum. I think we're
mhm,
having a connection issue.
yeah, yeah, I think we did. I don't know if that was on your end or because you were
Okay.
like freezing for a minute.
Oh, yes. Timothy, you were breaking up.
Was
But,
I? Shit, that's
oh,
no good.
okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, we're good. We're good now. So Man, my brain is so jumpy, I
It's
forget what I
okay.
was saying.
And for anybody that's not used to seeing sage or smudge, I'm not here smoking. Just for people to know, right? I'm burning sage to smudge to allow the air to be cleared of negativity and
Where can I get some of that stuff? I want to get it like
yeah.
right after I jump off
Well,
this
heck
call.
yeah. What I'll do, Sabina, is I'll send you a link to the website. And I think
Oh,
since,
it's a website.
yeah,
Nice.
ever since this
I
whole,
wanted to get some like today, like go shopping and find
oh
a store
yeah.
where I can get it.
Well, I don't know if you, well, you, depending on where you live, I guess,
I'm
you
in
probably
Ottawa
can buy
right
this.
now,
Yeah? Okay. You probably
but
can,
I live in Toronto, but I'm just visiting my parents.
okay. You probably can buy stuff locally, but I get this specifically from a native, and I think it's great. Like, I've
Yeah,
had
I
other
would like to
stuff.
buy from him. I would
Yeah.
like to buy from him.
This
He's got a
smells,
website.
yeah, for sure. This smells really good. The other stuff I've had it smells like fucking BO.
Oh
Like,
my God, get me
oh,
the
it's
best
disgusting, right?
quality.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, I love
Uh,
it.
but
Yeah,
since COVID
no.
came around, man, it seems like that, he's just out of stock on everything. Like, people are
No
buying up
way.
shit like crazy, which is good for him, right?
Okay.
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Sucks for
yeah.
me, but yeah.
He needs to hire some employees.
Well, yeah,
Tell him he's got to,
produce more, right?
multiply himself.
I
Yeah.
know.
Got to keep up with the
Yeah.
demand, man. You make more money that way.
He's got a wicked website with like every time he sends you something, he'll send you a stone too, like a crystal
Oh,
or a rock,
oh.
like and have a description of what it is. So it's pretty dope,
Where
man.
is he? Where is he located?
Let me see. I think it's called. Oh, I don't want to say Dreams and Beads or Beads and Dreams or something. I'm gonna look it up right now as we speak.
Alrighty. But yeah, I remember my thought again.
Yep.
So I was saying that it's important to have like a lot of different stories
Yeah.
because someone is going to relate to that person's story. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
So
Beaded Dreams. I'll
you and
send that
I
to you after.
relate to perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was it for other people?
Beaded Dreams. I'll put it on the descriptive
Yeah,
description
if you want to
box there
get your
below after too.
sage, get the
Hell
best of the
yeah, right?
best.
I can vouch for it. I use it every day.
Right.
It's awesome. But yeah, as you were. Sorry.
Yeah, I only like high quality stuff. Like I realize that it's good to pay for quality things. Like
Oh
it makes
God, yeah.
life like more. I'm all into like the lifestyle, simple pleasures, kind of aromatherapy, and so I'm trying to do the natural healing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm into all different things. I do the art therapy, music therapy,
Hell yeah.
everything, and I read all these
Nice.
books. Like this one's one of my favorite. Have you read this?
Power versus
Power
force.
versus
No.
Force.
Yeah, enlighten
Brilliant.
us.
Dr. David Hawkins. He
Okay.
has hold on, let me just pull up the most important part that where's the map? The map of consciousness. I really like to refer to that. Jesus, where is it? I should have hold on, but yeah, I do a lot of reading, so this is the other one, right? Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I read this and the line that this triggered my healing. I started to
Perfect.
disidentify and I realized that I didn't have to tell myself the same story or like I was bigger than my illness
Mm-hmm.
because I was so stuck in like seeing only through my illness. I couldn't see anything else.
Yeah,
If you
same.
know what I mean. I did that for so many years and I was stuck in like anger and depression and the why me, like why me. I did the
Yes.
why me for years. Did you do that?
Oh God, yeah. It's easy to victimize and blame everything on everyone
Yeah.
else. Quick question though: do you know the history of Eckhart Tolle and how he came to be?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in Vancouver, right? I don't know if he still lives there, but that's where his journey began and he had his spiritual awakening. So yeah, we could talk
Yeah,
about that
for sure.
because for us, so yes, now I also remember the other thought that I had when you
All
were
right.
talking about um oh man, I forget the labels, right? The
Yeah.
labels and the stories that we were telling ourselves. The way we approach mental health and telling ourselves that we're sick for our personalities and our way of being or we are, right? That itself is also, I think, very not healthy. Um, I, 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 I'm starting to see things more clearly. I feel like right now, having these types of conversations with other people that have similar kind of experiences as me.
Yeah.
Um, man, it's just that because it's all fresh stuff coming to
Yeah,
me
no,
right
that's
now
okay. There's no,
because of our convo.
yeah.
That the Eckhart Tolle, man, the thought is gone. I'm sorry. You have the racing thoughts or
You're breaking
whatever.
up, Sabina. Yeah, it must. Are you on Wi-Fi? Do you have? Are you get a laptop there, or is it cell phone?
I am on Wi-Fi, but my VPN sometimes cuts in and out. Like
Ah,
I'm
that'll do
working,
it.
I mean not working. I'm using my work
Yeah.
laptop, and
Okay.
it's government laptop,
Are
so
you able to cut out the VPN?
it's
Because that's gonna
not.
make you drag a bit with the bandwidth, right? You
No,
can't do
no,
that.
no.
Okay. Well, we'll make do with it.
I need the VPN. Oh, wait a second. This is Zoom. It's oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Oh yeah. Hold on a
Because
second.
that's killing your bandwidth, right?
Oh, am I still back?
I can hear you, but you have a still image.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
Um, I can see you.
There we go.
This is moving too. Oh, okay. So I did disconnect the
Yeah.
VPN.
You probably have a better would come with that for sure. I used to use it too when I download stuff. Like I used to download movies and games and stuff and use a VPN so that your IP address wasn't being tracked. But it definitely does slow down your internet connection for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
no, that's good to know.
yeah, man.
But yeah, so how we approach our and how we're told that having self-confidence, I don't agree with this because I don't like to be told that having self-confidence and loving yourself or believing in yourself or believing that you're here to change the world or do something great is an illness. Why don't we
Yeah.
change the script and be like, have the doctors tell us, yes, you are here to change the world. Yes, you're very special. You're not crazy. Why
Yeah.
can't we have that conversation? I
We
don't
can
like
have it right now.
yeah, I don't like the conversations that we're having, and
No.
I want to change that,
Well,
around the
that's
whole mental health community and the doctors, like they really want to help us, right?
yeah.
So, they're apparently trying to help us, but really what they're doing is just sedating us, and I don't
Yep.
want to be
Making you
sedated.
sick or keeping you sick, I should say. And
Right.
I don't know if you took notice of the podcast that I threw it there on Facebook yesterday, I believe it was. Let me see. I'm just going to look up something rather quickly. Because this girl, here it is, How to Become a Self Healer by Doing the Work by Dr. Nicole Lapira. And she's a holistical psychologist, and she has a different approach. Like everything we're speaking of, self love, self awareness, meditation, like Qigong, all these practices that can create the best formula for the individual going through the shit without having to solely rely on that band aid effect method, as I always refer to. Like, yes, initially, maybe take the meds, but don't hold on to them like they're a fucking
During
lifeline.
psychosis, you need the
Yeah,
medication. I was
just
on
to get things sorted
medication.
back out,
Hmm.
right? But they do have, like I had Sean Blackwell on here before too, and he was mentioning about his ideologies in the very beginning. He was all against meds at first, and now he's saying, well, in conjunction with, right? And I'm kind of saying the same thing because I don't want to really steer people in the wrong direction, thinking go holistically and solely holistically, because it doesn't work for everybody, man. Like it's basically whatever works for you as an individual. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. And if you need
Hmm.
meds, stick with them for the time being.
Hmm.
But long
Hmm.
term, don't rely on those, man, because they're not going to get you through it, right?
Well, the thing is, everybody should know themselves well enough to know, and I think people do fairly well. They've experienced enough to know, like, okay, you know what? I've tried the med-free path, or I've tried the or I've tried this medication or that medication, and they figure out which one suits themselves. I found for my medications, I've been on so many different on and off for many, many years. I had many different diagnostics. I had the manic depression first episode, and then bipolar, schizoaffective. I've had a lot of different. They couldn't, I don't
Labels.
know,
Yeah.
they couldn't figure it out,
Yeah.
and then right now I have the bipolar too. So right now that's my diagnostic.
Yeah, I've
Um,
got
and
what they claim
and
to be bipolar one,
right,
but
right. But
I
me
still
seeing
don't buy
all of
into it.
that, I don't buy into any of that.
No.
Because first of all, like it's mental health. Nobody did a brain scan to tell me what chemicals are out of whack. Why don't you guys study my brain to figure out what kind of mental illness it is, you know? But they make you do the personality test and stuff. But honestly, like none of that I don't think is really relevant. What's relevant is like our the things that we're dealing with at home, in our environments, our traumas in the past. um I think that it is an environment thing, and
Yeah.
things in our environment can trigger our brains to go overboard and go somewhere where uh it just I don't know, it's kind of like a wormhole, kind of like a you kind of get sucked into a train of thought, or and then because the brain, and then for me, like I remember listening to another girl's story on your channel, and I really identified with it. She was like, you could hear so much, it's as if your brain is accessing different parts of different parts that you didn't have access to before. So it's like we're not supposed to be using our brain like that, and like, but it was like the veils were being lifted.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like it's almost, people speak about the conscious state of, you know, your brain capacity, and like there's 3D and 5D and all that. But I think that in actuality, we tapped into those multi-dimensional, complex compartments within the brain, and it's almost like having a door cracked open to a new beginning, but then it's fucking slammed shut. And like, here, shut up, take your pills, suppress you, motherfucker. You're gonna get in line, do as you're told, and that's all there is to it. And
I
that's why I
think we
get
just
irritated
didn't.
and angry with it, right? That's not the way to operate. Like, I really feel, and the best reference I can use is, I guess, like a simple one is a snake. A snake sheds its skin, and we were doing that, with that way of transforming into who we were supposed to be, but it got disrupted and abruptly halted from the intervention with the doctors, psychiatrists, medication, and being in the hospital. I solely feel that maybe not everyone, but there probably is some individuals who are going through psychosis, if you want to label psychosis, that they can make that transformation therapeutically if they're given the right tools, the right environment to just allow it to be. It's like when you're crying, man, if you've gone through a breakup or somebody died in your family, you don't want somebody coming along you and slapping you in the fucking face saying, shut up and get on with it, man. You need to sit there and be one with yourself and your emotions so that you can work yourself through it. And I feel that's the same way with, a situation of a psychosis, mania, depression.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a pill to throw in more. It's like putting gasoline on the fire. That's how I feel, anyways. Like it didn't work for me. It made me feel worse about myself, my situation, and kept me in an operative mode of where I was a victim, and I had to solely rely on the doctors and their therapeutic understanding of what they thought they had nailed down.
What was good for
Uh,
you,
yeah, right.
right?
So
Because that's what we do. We kind of rely on the doctors to kind of like, like control our healing journey.
you're giving them your
Give
power,
them
your energy.
all your power,
Yeah,
and you say, okay, I will, yes sir, I will do this, yes sir, I will do that, and we just accept, and we don't believe in our own ability to heal ourselves,
no, it's
and
sad,
that's a
isn't it?
huge problem.
Yeah, it is. It's like solely suppressing those emotions and wanting to get back to what we call normal standards of living.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wrong approach, because to get back to something that you didn't understand, you're still lost, right? So why not work through these emotions and these difficulties in a sound way so that you can be able to rise to your full potential.
Full potential. And
Yeah.
it's very difficult to heal a psychosis. Like even me, after 10 years, I haven't figured it out, right? So I don't think I'll ever understand what happened to me in that period of my life. I just like to be the person I am today and be like, I'm proud. I had to drop out of university. I had to fight for that degree. I didn't care. I was going to go back and get my degree, got my
Nice.
degree and, worked. And now I'm working, finally have a stable job. And I had a hard time holding a stable job for many years because of my illness. And that can do a lot to your self-esteem and your self-confidence when you
Yeah,
feel like,
yeah.
oh my God, you can't operate in the real world
Yep.
and being on disability. I was on disability too in the past. And it's so terrible for your mental health to be in that funk of like, like I think a big problem in the mental health community is the financial problem, like where we don't have enough to, you can't work your way up the Maslow's hierarchy of needs if your foundation is not good,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yep.
So that affects, like, I drew a correlation between depression and how much was in my bank account. And now that I don't have the financial problems that I had before, I don't experience depression anymore. My best friend just passed away in a
Yeah, you said
hurricane,
that's
and
unfortunate.
I can't believe how resilient I've been and like they say tough situations don't last, but tough people do.
Yeah,
And one thing that I took from my
100%.
psychosis was that it made me really tough because I survived something
Very
pretty
severe.
crazy,
Yeah.
and I didn't think I was going to survive it, but I did. And so that makes everything else in my life a piece of cake.
Nice.
The
Yeah.
reason why I'm even able to do the creative things that I do, and it is because when you feel like you've experienced like death, right? It's like you don't have anything else to lose.
Yeah,
So
pretty
it's
much.
like, okay, I'm not scared to fail or whatever, Like it's like I only live this one. When you're given another chance at life, that's when you don't take life for granted anymore. Because you'll always take it for granted if you just you're just floating around, with no if you don't hit the rocks, you don't get to see how seriously precious this is.
No, I know. I
That's
felt the
life.
same, and it's kind of cool that when you go through something so traumatically experienced like that, or even the death of a loved one. Like I lost my brother 6 years ago, and I victimized myself. Fuck! I got bipolar. I got AS. I got to take all these pills. And my brother's
Wow.
gone. He was my rock, or I
Oh my
felt
God,
like,
yeah.
right. So when he kicked off, I'm like,
That's
fuck
so
me.
sad.
So I drink myself to death and
Oh
just feel
no.
pity, right? But
Yeah.
that's not what he would have wanted. But what I
No.
found was I gained strength from his passing. And what I
Wow.
mean by that is like, okay, well, Danny Boy's gone, and really, realistically, to toss it out there for everyone to understand that you're only here for maybe 85, 90 years, and everyone who's with you is dying too. So
Yeah.
it's not like you need to put up a brave face and
No.
a plate of armor and wear 1,000 masks to feel like you belong, to have
Yeah.
validation and confirmation and acceptance from
Right.
others. You don't need that, man.
No.
So, yeah, the old saying, you've never met a tough individual who had an easy life, right?
Right.
Those battle scars are what make you who you are to, you
Mhm.
know. But anyways,
That's why I don't whenever I have something bad happen, yeah, it'll hurt a lot, but I know that it's serving a purpose. So
yeah,
with that,
it's how you look at it,
I
right?
can take all of my problems and innovate with that. Create, because the thing is, like, when you have problems, you have to look for the solution. So it forces you to think more creatively, more outside the box. It forces you to look and search.
Yeah,
That's key.
it is, and I think that's the kind of character that I am too. I'll see a problem as it is and not get heightened about it, where I might have before. Get worried and
Mm,
anxious and like, fuck, whatever, man. Who cares? I'll find a solution to it. And I always do.
right.
My wife gets panicky about things like, psh, don't worry about it. Things will come together, man. It's just, no, it's true. I mean, you
Yeah.
can sit there and worry about it. When you fester with these ideas, these problems that arise in your life, if you're not doing anything about them, do you think that sitting there having these festering thoughts in a negative manner is going to provide any benefit to you or the ones around you? Absolutely not, man. There
I,
is ways to get around, but you got to be decisive and
Yeah.
give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you can get
Yeah.
through it one way or another, right?
Right. And the thing is, the brain is a miracle, right? But we're talking about brain health here.
Mm-hmm.
And the brain is they say like Tesla and all of them, they all believe that it's a receiver receiving signals, right? So if you think about that, it's all energy and receiving data. We're putting in data into our supercomputers, which is the
Mm-hmm.
brain, right? It's a supercomputer, and that's why like when I started reading and I started healing my brain through the knowledge that I was like through like books like Eckhart Tolle or
Yep.
Power versus Force, or like this book here, which is a business book. Is really good. This one
Who's
here,
that by?
How to Go Big, Create Wealth, and Impact the World. Gold. He's the author of Abundance. His name is Peter Diamandis. It's a lot about technology and disruptive technology, like Zoom
Oh
right now.
shit, yeah.
That's a pretty tech disruptive technology, but yeah. But yeah, like this there's just, we live in such a transformative time, and we are going through an evolutionary journey that is, it is interconnected and so on and we're all in it kind of together, how I see it. Like, because us sharing the story, it's going to help others, and then the people that they help, and it's just going to all
Domino
have
effect.
that. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, the ripple effect, right?
That's right. And it only
So,
takes one pebble, you know?
right. And I want to spark that conversation in our community, because
Yeah,
we need to heal ourselves. And
big
it's
time.
not about the doctors. It's about us working on our own selves.
Yep.
Um and taking the time and loving ourselves enough to have that self-discipline, or creating the positive habits. I'm still like, I'm not there yet. I'm not perfect. We're never perfect.
None of us are.
It's not about like being perfect or anything like that, not at all. It's just about being able to take yourself seriously enough to know that, okay, so this is not healthy and this is healthy. And like you really, I couldn't have gotten to where I am in my healing journey without having read those books.
Nice.
I think that it's key to put in the proper information to educate yourself about yourself, about
Yeah,
your
well, see,
mind.
the biggest thing is like your brain is a filter, and if you're filtering it with negative energies, whether it's social media, whether it's, talking to somebody who's poisoned, or being in a collaborated group like that, that's going to bring you the fuck down. And what's the old saying? Like one rotten apple can spoil the whole batch. Well, the same
Mm,
goes with who you keep company with. Like if
right.
you want to grow exponentially, you want to hang
Hmm.
with people who are already at the top. And I don't even mean on a wealthy status, but like
No, no.
people who have their shit together. You're
Right.
gonna hang with the bums and the dumb fucks, man. You're gonna end up like them,
Not the
right?
drug addicts. If you hang around drug
Yeah.
addicts, you'll be one too.
Oh yeah. And they're actually saying that your physical appearance can change. Believe it or not, it's very malleable, depending on who you're hanging around. You can act like them, talk like them, and even have physical attributes that are similar to theirs. That's pretty crazy because
Wow.
it's all about the microbiome with the gut flora, because it's
Oh
all
my
bacteria
God.
that makes us decide what we want to eat, how we respond to things and react and so forth.
Crazy.
It's such a complex thing. Like people are saying that the brain is complex, but it's not really, man. The primary brain is in the stomach that sends signals through the transit line to the brain. So
The
it kind of is like just a receiver, right?
so that the food that we eat is so that it,
Oh shit, yes. By far the biggest key factor in, operating on a proper level is food intake. People take it,
yeah.
kind of like a joke, like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
just eat this shit
No, I
and
don't. Yeah.
I'll be fine. But no,
Yeah.
I'm so in tune with my body and everything
Right.
around me that I mentioned before in podcast, I can instantaneously know if a food is good or bad for me, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's
Within
something that
moments.
a lot of wealthy people do. They know that it's so key. That's why a lot of people go vegetarian. Um, um, and
Yeah. Well, I'll touch base with that with my ideologies on it when you're finished. But yeah, go ahead, Sabina.
I
Sorry.
haven't gone that route. I don't like the violence of the meat production industry. And so but it's it's really hard to cut it out
Yeah.
if you love it. And I think that's something that I would like to try one day, but right now I I I don't have that kind of self-discipline, and it's really difficult to do that dietary change. But like, say
It
if I
is.
had a severe illness, like that was a physical illness, and I knew that I needed to heal my body, yeah, you eat fruits and vegetables.
Yeah. I'll tell you from my own personal experience. I tried it, I guess going on 2 years ago now. I lost all kinds of weight, shredded right up, very muscular because I was actively working and working out and stuff. But what I found was my cheeks were actually sinking in. I wasn't getting the abundance of B12 and everything else, like the good fat that you get from meat products and stuff. And I say, like, if you want to go vegan, you can try it, but we're all designed differently, uniquely. So it's going to work for some and others it won't. So I simply say whatever works for you as an individual. I sit on the fence with it because I've tried both sides. But I did find that eating mostly, fruits, vegetables, and stuff like that, the vegan diet, I felt closer, like a closer connection to my higher self and the creator. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I was more lighthearted. I felt like I wasn't easily triggered by things, and I had a strict routine then too. Doing the meditation, the qigong, the stretching, the yoga, and all that stuff. But I was very lethargic. I lost a bunch of weight. I had massive bags under my eyes. I still do. I think this is all the damage the pills and my own
Mm-hmm.
indulgence has created over the years. But
Mm-hmm.
when I started eating meat again, like beforehand, I couldn't make a fist and hold it with strength. It was very weak. I'd get my wife to hold her index and middle finger, and I'd try to crush it with my hand, and I couldn't. And she's like, "That's all you
Wow.
got?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, that's fucking ridiculous." Trying to walk, a local park here, man. I couldn't go any more than 20, 30 paces, and I was out of breath. I'm like, "Fuck, what is happening?" I thought I was just, trying to purge all the poisons out. But I think in honesty, it was the diet that I consumed at that time. It was making me sick. It works for some. Like I follow Rich Roll on a podcast, and he's been a vegan forever. He feels great. He looks fine. He did mention in a podcast, though, he felt weak when he went into the gym, and he was kind of embarrassed by that, a little shamed, because he couldn't lift, heavy weight like the people around him. But again, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then switch it
Mm-hmm.
up. Find what
Yeah,
works
it
for you.
really is different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And, some people like have like acid issues and stuff like that too. Like I know I do.
I
So
did.
I need a lot of like heavy food, and fruits and vegetables are just so light.
Yeah,
So, like that's the thing about illness. It's really every case is so unique. You gotta figure out, and I think most people understand that. They always talk about, oh, I figured out the right concoction of medications that works for me, kind of thing. So yeah, you gotta you it takes time. And the thing is, for me, I wish somebody had told me there was light at the end of the tunnel, and that I was gonna become okay, and that I was gonna heal, and one day I wasn't gonna be on the meds and I would be okay. Because I had all of these false beliefs about myself and my life and my
yeah.
future when they weren't true. And I had that, and I lived in that, and nobody can convince me anything else existed.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll tell you too, Sabina. A buddy at work, a good friend of mine, his name's Jason. I won't toss out his last name because I don't believe in tossing out people's personal names here on you know public. But he told me years ago we were going to work together, and he's like, "Matt, you don't need those meds." I was like, "The fuck do you know, dude? I need this." And I told him recently, like, "Dude, I got angered, man, because you told me I didn't need them. I was gonna punch you in the fucking mouth, man, because I
Hmm.
thought that without these, I would be in that darkest, deepest shithole that I found myself
Hmm.
before my diagnosing."
Hmm.
And I held on to that like a lifeline.
Yeah,
You
me
know, like,
too. Yeah, I
like this is my
understand.
rubber dinghy. If I don't have this, I'm fucked. I'm going down again. I can't have that. But he was right. He says, "No, man. I'm telling you, you can heal yourself.
Yeah,
You gotta have faith, man, and
yeah.
work on yourself." I'm like, "Pfft." And I wasn't a firm believer, so I thanked him
No.
tremendously when I came, to be med free, and told him,
Hmm.
"Jason, buddy, if it wasn't for you, dude, I don't even think I would have traveled this
Hmm.
road." And
He put the
oh,
seed in your mind.
yeah, big time, right?
Hmm.
And we talk about that stuff all the time, man. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm glad to have him in my life. And again, same with the ones at the Harmony Health Center that we have that do the holistic approach to everything. We got acupuncture, cranial massage. I mean, all these extras that you can give yourself to help nourish what you really need when you're broken inside. Because let's face it, we are the most critical sons of bitches, man, in our lives. The world can be cruel and, you know, leave a bad taste in your mouth, but you are your worst advocator at times, man, for beating yourself up, right?
Hmm.
So I
We're not
say,
taught how to
go
love
ahead.
ourselves. Sorry.
No, not at all. No,
Continue.
that's my point. Like I never thought I had to nurture myself, and I'm not saying you got to baby yourself and coddle, but just respect yourself, appreciate what you have. You know, it is only temporary, but while you have it, you know, give it the best that it needs. It's like a vehicle. You're not gonna dump a bunch of shit sugar in the tank and hope that you're gonna run for, you know, X amount of miles, whatever. You're gonna break down and destroy your vehicle that you're driving in. So this is how I look at it. It's my temple. I want to
It's your
take the best
temple,
care of it, man.
for
Right?
sure. Yeah. And the other thought that I had was, um, I think I already mentioned that healing, sorry, love, we're not taught how to love ourselves. And what was the other thought? Where, oh, right. I heard somewhere that self-discipline
Mhm.
is self-love. So I
Nice.
heard something. Somebody was doing like a podcast, I think, on it. And and it really talked about how self-discipline is self-love. And we don't hear that because, you know, we think that, oh, loving ourselves is, it's not, it has nothing to do with ego.
No,
It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with healthy habits.
it does. I mean, like when you think
And it could be
about,
mental habits too, like how you perceive yourself and how you see, and your worldview
hmm,
and your outlook as well.
yeah, and typically when you're beating yourself up like that, what I often find is when you're critical of others and being judgmental, that's when you realize, like when you have, you know, a general concept of self-awareness and all that, you realize that you're actually just pointing the finger back at yourself for something that you don't like, you know, within
About
yourself.
yourself. Mm,
And when you start to grasp that, and you know, because your mouth can be like poisonous venom, just tossing it at people all fucking day long. Because all you're trying to do is fill a void, this fucking dark, deep void that's just a bottomless pit. And you're tossing shit in there, and you're just like
yes.
smashing other people. But what you're
Right.
really doing is beating yourself up. You're walking around with hatred in your heart, and that's not the way to operate. There's two places you can operate from: a fear-based mentality or love, man. And as far as I'm concerned, love prevails every time, right? You don't have to hate on other people because you're just hating on yourself. And if we're all connected as one, you're bringing down the shit. Why would you want to do that? It's like shooting holes in a damn ship and going, I guess we're all going to drown together. No, you don't want to do that. You want to float
It's
together,
true.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I
100%.
say, work on yourselves, man, and bring love each and every day to every aspect of your life. You know, it's appropriate and
Love
proper.
is the cure.
Yeah,
Love
it
is
is.
the cure.
Yeah, and as far as
That's what
I,
I believe, but people don't believe love can cure anything.
well, I know, right? Like when I mentioned earlier about Eckhart Tolle's experience, he was pretty down and out with himself, and yeah, right. This is from the Power of Now, but it's the same idea. He's basically saying that he didn't know how to live with himself, and after he understood the concept, like, wait a minute, what the hell does that even mean? How can you live with yourself, right? He's an awesome character. So what you're really saying is there's got to be two of you, a duality there. I can't live with myself. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit, right? There's only you, all this vessel and the consciousness. So when he came to light with his viewings of the world and how he actually foreseen things, he woke up the next morning and everything was vibrant. And that's what I found too after I came out of this dark, deep,
Mm,
sad and depression. It's like,
mm.
whoa, everything's bright. And you know what I find
Ah.
too, Sabina? I'll tell you, it's like
Ah.
every night I got plants. I love plants. I grow stuff all
Mm-hmm.
the time, and I say to my wife, I'm like, "You notice that the plants are super green right now?" She's like, "No." And I read that book, Celestine Prophecy. So when I did read that, thanks again, Jason. He's the one that gave me the book. But reading that book, it put that all in perspective. I was like, okay, so that's coming from a level of complete love and acceptance and not denying. Because when you're in that it drops your vibrational frequency to a degree that's so. Oh shit! Can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, something kicked off here. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. It's the the fucking jack thing here for the headphones.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh god, I lost it. We do this quite steadily, don't we? Train of thoughts out the window.
Well, for me, it's like constant. My thoughts
Yeah.
are so jumpy.
Well, I'm all over
One
the
thing,
place anyway, but
yeah, it's a trigger response. This is so crazy how one lead thoughts it leads to another thought, and then like we're not really in control of that, you know.
no, we're not our
And our
thoughts. We're not our
focus,
body, right?
no, we're not. And that's a realization that I didn't, think about or have until, I read this book.
Hmm.
And that was the breakthrough for me when I started healing. It was the line, "You are not your mind."
That's
And
crazy.
then it was like
Yeah, man.
my everything
Mind blown.
shattered. I'm like, oh, I don't have to identify with the voices that I heard. That wasn't me. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's not me.
and
That's
that's
not
what I'm
me.
saying. Like
And then I'm like,
consciousness.
okay, I'm not the mind, then I'm not even right now.
Yeah,
Like, then what am I? Who am I?
all it
We're still trying to figure it out.
is the consciousness, man, having an individualized experience within that vessel of yours, within mine. So we are all the same, operating on the same playing field. We're just in
In
separate
3D.
entities right now. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
really firmly believe that when people pass, it's kind of like if you took a house and you're in separate rooms. That's all it is. Like from the spirit realm to the living
Mm,
fucking shithole that we
mm-hmm.
have
Oh,
here.
100%. Yeah,
It's just,
exactly. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I believe there true dimension where our spirits exist,
yeah,
because
same.
right now our spirits are housed in the body,
Hmm.
but then when we shed the body we become just spirit,
Yeah, pretty
our
much.
true
Right.
self.
Yep.
We become our true selves at death, and that's my personal belief, but everybody has their own beliefs,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't ever believe something that doesn't align
Yeah.
with your worldview or your experience. Your inner experience is yours and your worldview is yours, so
Yeah, and that's
I
what
always
I posted
say
something
that.
on Facebook the other day about basically saying that your story and your reality is yours, and for someone to come along and say, no, that didn't happen or that's not true, is taken away
Hmm.
from you, man. Like, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Hmm.
We're all seeing things
Yes.
differently. I used to
Right.
think, too, like, what about the color spectrum, man? Like, does everyone see blue the same color as I do? I mean, there's different variations within that scale of blues, but how do you know? Just because we've been told, right? So yeah, we're all unique, we're all different, and diversity is key. I mean, to make things operate on the highest level of functionability, you have to have diversity. It's much like your body. Again, I'll resort back to the microbiome. Without having diverse foods in there, if you like, I'll put it this way: for me to go vegan a couple of years back, I was taking out whole foods that I would typically eat on the given any given day. And what you're doing is starving that bacteria that used to thrive off that shit. Now it's like, oh fuck, well, I'm not being fed that stuff anymore, so I guess I'm out. And they commit suicide. So then you have other cells that got to push up even more and to rise to the occasion to fend off your immune system and everything else, right? So I'm big on diversity, and I think it's okay that we all operate on different levels and frequencies for now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and just accept it that it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
It's true. Yeah, for sure. And we're all where we're meant to be, and we're all on the same journey at
Yeah.
different places.
Yep.
There can't be any judgment in that.
No, right? And that's what I mentioned. If you can walk around without being critically judgmental of the next person, um, people know me from years past. I was a dick. I could be very critical of people, just bluntly, making cracks about ones walking by, and just I never understood it then, but now I do. I was just trying to hide from my own self, and instead of having the spotlight on me, toss it to someone else so that they could, I guess trying to feed the ego, but also masking my own pain and misery, right? So, I think that's the whole idea of why people are bullies, right? You got them in the school system, workplace, I mean, in general. These are individuals who haven't worked on themselves, and they don't understand how it feels to be at the bottom barrel, suffocating and ready to kick off until, something happens in their life that brings them to that point, that pinnacle point in their life. So that's how you can change the world, man. I think we all have to suffer. Without suffering, there's no growth. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And it's crazy how that they say that the path to enlightenment is through suffering, and I never
yeah.
really understood that. It's because the thing is, we can't ever say we've reached a state of non-suffering,
Hmm.
as the physical realm is a realm of suffering.
Yeah,
Let's just let's just be honest with ourselves,
it's
right?
true. Yeah.
You can't escape it. How you maneuver in this suffering is up to you. What you do with your suffering is up to you. And I think we're co-creators, and we create our story. We create our destiny. We manifest everything.
Hmm.
Um
It's
and
all about
there's
intent,
it's about
right?
intent, and your environment is key. And the problem is so many people don't have a good environment where they can flower.
Yeah, that's it too. It's kind of like, oh, you just said it, a flower. You took a flower and took it out of its natural habitat of receiving the nourishment from the sun, the soil, you know, the dew of the mountain, or the mountain dew, yeah, that's it, the morning dew, uh, the rain mist and whatnot. Like, without all that, it's not going to thrive. And that's each and every one of us when we're not allowed to just be. You know what I mean? If you're always
Mhm.
being bombarded with the expectations and obligations of life,
Mhm. Mhm.
and whether it's your spouses, your parents, it's hard to become who you need to be in order to be your best, right?
Then become the best version of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And I also believe the seed is the flower. So everything is already within you.
yeah, it is.
You
Yeah.
just have to, give it the proper nourishment to be able to come bring that out and grow,
Hmm.
and become who you're meant to be, in this world, in this type of service, because we're all here in some sort of service. When you go to
Yeah,
work, you're serving your community.
you are. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do for your work. You showing up is you serving others,
Well, that's
essentially.
it too, right? And even on a different aspect of that, like we're not meant here to chisel a life for ourselves and to accumulate all the wealth and all that. I've mentioned it before. I mean, it's talked about steadily. You know how many people who are billionaires,
Hmm.
trillionaires, are committing
Hmm.
suicide on the annual basis? It's disgusting and appalling, right? Because they
Hmm.
haven't found true contentment.
No.
They're not diving into themselves and seeing the treasures that lie within, right? They're like, oh, I got to find an external world, and
Hmm.
that's going to bring me everything I need. But that's what we've been told with the conditioning program mindset. Ah, you acquire wealth, you're going to have everything you want. Well, piss in the
Hmm.
wind and hope it doesn't blow back in your face. That's what chasing money is to me, right?
Right, right.
Find a hobby, something that you truly invest your
Hmm.
time with, your heart, like your whole passion, man, and that
Something
will
you love.
become, yeah, exactly, and money will
Makes you
follow.
happy.
Yeah,
Makes you happy. Do
that's
what
right.
makes you happy. No, life is hard.
Yep.
Just find things other than drugs and alcohol. Do things
Yeah,
that make you happy,
I know,
you know?
right?
Because
All they
you
are is
got
suppressors, except for weed. Now, I'm going to say
right,
about weed,
right.
that helps me sleep.
I don't consider it a drug.
No, I don't either, right? It's
Yeah,
not synthetically
it's a
created.
medicine.
Yeah, right. Man hasn't touched that. Well, I guess maybe they're cultivating it now, and like we have liquor stores selling the shit, right?
Right,
Fuck
right,
knows what they're spraying on it, but I mean,
right.
like, essentially, the plant for me is a benefit because I sleep better, I operate on a better frequency, I feel better about myself, blah 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 blah. I mean, there's a lot of pros to it, and not,
Creative, opens your
yeah, right.
creativity, brings you into flow state. I use
That's
it as
right.
well. But honestly, I also think though that it could be dangerous for people with our condition.
Mm-hmm.
I notice that when I'm not on it, I'm less in my emotions, and you can meditate clearer.
Oh god, yeah. On
Um,
weed or
oh,
without?
well, the thing is, you can meditate clearer with or without. It's just really, it's interesting though. Like I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm still trying I'm experimenting, like having no substance and then and using substance. And um yeah, it's just it's like I've been using it as self-medicating because I don't have used medications at this
Mm-hmm.
time, right, for bipolar. um and it helps me like maintain like 17-hour work days some days.
That's
Like I'll be
crazy,
able
eh?
to work for 17 hours, wake up at 7 a.m., I ain't stopping until 1 a.m. kind of thing.
It's wild.
Well, but because it's creative work, it doesn't feel like work. And that's when
Yeah, I feel the
you
same too,
find
right?
what you love. Like I have
Yeah.
my 9 to 5 job, and then after my 9 to 5 job, I'm working on my passions and my hobbies.
Heck yeah.
And it's possible. It's possible to be high functioning, but one
Mm-hmm.
thing I couldn't do while on the medications was be high functioning, which
Yeah,
is
me either.
why I had to wean up. I just went cold turkey. I just stopped one day. But I wasn't on like an extremely high dose anyway. It was okay. It was like just moderate. And
So,
and
Sabina, how long were you on medication for? Just out of
so from
curiosity.
22 for on and off for 10 years. There
Okay.
were periods where I hated the medication so much and it damaged me and physically in other ways that
Mm-hmm.
I stopped it, and then I would try a different medication, and then I would stop that and then try a different medication and then stop that. So I did
Trying to
on and
find
off for
relief.
10 years.
Yeah, that's wild, eh?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
And
nothing
then
worse
just
than being a guinea
finally.
pig. You
Yeah,
know.
but then we are, and that's the sad thing. And they don't realize that they're playing with real lives here. That a lot of people don't make it. A lot of people die
Yeah,
because they commit suicide.
I know. It's unfortunate and it's quite alarming. The statistical numbers on that.
That's why I say it's a miracle to survive,
It is. It really is.
and we should all be proud of ourselves.
Yeah, man.
Doesn't matter where
One hundred
we're
percent.
at. Even if you're going through psychosis right now, just know that there's like I wish somebody had told me while I was going through. I think people did try to tell me, but you don't believe it. You don't believe
No,
you're gonna get better.
I know.
So just a disclaimer, you're gonna get better. It
That's
gets
right.
better. It's always gets better, but there's a lot of work involved in that, and you need time to heal you.
You do. Again,
Yeah.
reference to the ankle. I didn't think that was going to get better in the initial days. Like it sucked ass, and I know some people. I got some buddies who've gone through a lot worse. But you never think that,
Because we're
oh, I'm going to be able to
short-sighted. We
walk.
can't,
Of
we can't,
course.
we can't see the future.
Yeah, we think that we need gratification instantaneously now because that's what we're
Hmm.
taught. But
Hmm.
I limped on that son of a
Especially
bitch for
nowadays.
months. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I never thought, oh man, I'm going to be able to do anything. And each and every day it got better and better, and it gained strength and stability. And it's the same with your mind. You just need time, then, right? And nourishment, as we spoke of, much like a plant or whatnot. So I got to ask you, Sabina. I've been looking at this clock the whole podcast. That's pretty
Yeah.
dope on your wall, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like that little the hands in the center there, that's battery operated, or is that?
Yeah, that's it. And the rest are just stick-ons.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah,
It's neat.
I forget where it's from, but this is my brother's room. I'm in his room because I like his vibe in here more,
Yeah, man.
and so
It's
I
pretty
just
cool.
chill here. And he's not even home. He didn't come home. He's he's a
Right on.
25-year-old,
Well,
but
that's a good reason why he's not home.
right.
Yeah.
Actually, it was his birthday, so that's why he's out
Oh, right
celebrating.
on. Well, happy
Yeah.
birthday, guy. Right?
Yeah,
Nice.
he's a cool dude. And these are all his books. But you know what? He's so funny. He just buys them and doesn't read them.
Ah, so just he's got a display of books to make you look good, eh?
Yeah, he's like, oh, but then he'll skim read them apparently.
Yeah. Well,
He's
I
like, oh,
mean,
I want to have them on my shelf, so if he gets pulled there, and he'll go pick
mhm,
it up. But yeah, like we're all on the whole self-development, like my whole family is.
nice.
I
That's
have a
good.
lot of healthy conversations, like the one that you and I just had, and the one
Hmm.
earlier as well. These
Sweet.
types of conversations are very important in your healing journey.
Yeah, there. Right? I mean, it's like Alan Watts. I'm a big fan of him too. And he said, a lot of people believe that you can sit and meditate and quiet the mind, but you can't. It's a never ending cycle that just wants to ramble on and ramble on. But if you were sitting there with only your thoughts, you would drive yourself fucking crazy. You need to talk to other people, right? To get some insight of what they think and perspectives on the viewpoints that you have around subjects, matters, topics, whatever it may be. Um, Again, because we're all here together. No one rises to the top on their own. I don't care who you are and how self-sufficient and resilient you are. It doesn't happen without a network of people. So,
No,
that's what this platform's all about, right?
Yeah, and the average CEO reads 60 books a year.
Yeah,
Um, People that are entrepreneurs, they're reading all the time because they know that they need knowledge to succeed.
yeah, it's
And
food for 'em.
um and so, when you don't have a support network, like for me, I didn't have anyone to talk to about my bipolar stuff before. I would consider the books my mentor.
Hmm.
So like the authors are my mentors, they're my friends. If you don't
Yeah,
have friends, you know what, get them books and they are your best friends.
that's how I look
But
at it
even if
too.
you don't have that support network, because not everybody has a whole bunch of friends that are really smart and know how to solve their problems
Yeah,
you know
and
like
it's not their job to either,
and
right?
it's
You know
not
what I
their
mean?
job to either.
They can be there
Yeah,
to be supportive, but
supportive,
they're
yeah.
not going to be anything but a kick in the ass to get you
They're not going to
motivated.
do the work for you,
That's
and
right.
it's all inner work, right? We have to look within.
Yeah, I read all the time, and like I used to listen to a lot of meditation music, and
Mm,
I don't feel I need to as much now. Like when I want to just kind of
me
like
too.
vibe with it, but
Yeah,
reading and listening to podcasts, that's all I freaking do at work.
yeah,
Like I'm about to kick off next month here and get back into heavy projects again, but I'll be plugging in with my ear pods and just jamming to the podcast and
yeah.
self-healing that way. And I find it such a benefit to walk the dog twice a
You have
day. And
to. You
well,
have to.
yeah, right. you know so I guess without further ado here, Sabina, we should get things wrapped
Right.
up. But
For sure. And maybe we can chop it up because it's too long.
well, actually, you'd be surprised. I just kind of let it go, because even if people don't watch the thing from beginning to end, they can sift through it. They can fast forward, rewind, whatever it
Oh,
kind
okay.
of grabs their attention that they can utilize to help benefit themselves. So
All
I
I hope
never.
that is
Uh,
helpful. As long
oh
as it's
yeah,
helpful.
right. Even if like it only reaches 20 people,
Hmm.
three of the 20, man, that's a gift that could help many. And that's how I look at it.
I
I
hope
don't
so.
I don't have to reach
For
thousands of
sure.
viewers. I don't
No,
even
no, no,
care about
no. Even
that.
that one soul. That
Yeah,
one
that
soul.
needs it.
You help
That's
that
right.
one soul, you're a success.
Yeah, exactly.
You've done your you'll fulfill the purpose.
Yeah, right. And
You
that's
know?
that's what I feel like. We're here. When you've gone through some shit that we've gone through, you're like a teacher to the ones first coming into it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right,
It's no
right. Because
different than
we're
a
10 years.
trade.
I'm 10 years in, and you're how many years in?
20 odd now, right? I
Wow.
know. Yeah. So a
Wow.
lot of personal experience, but a lot of
Wow.
shortcomings that stalled my
Mm,
ability to
hmm.
level up. But yeah.
Right, right. It
Well, I'm
takes
still on the
time.
same. I still put myself on the same level as anyone else, medicated or not. We're all just trying to get through this, the
Right.
best way we can. So,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true.
All right. Perfect, Speeda.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Well,
for that.
well, thank you for being a guest on my show, and
Welcome.
I'm sure we'll have more podcasts in the future.
For
I love
sure.
having people come back and seeing where they're up to date.
Maybe
A
we
couple
can
of months,
delve
whatnot.
into like specific things next time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Sabina. Well, thank you very much, and
Okay,
you have yourself
awesome.
a great day. Okay.
You
All
too.
right.
Enjoy the
Talk to you later.
weekend.
Will
Take
do.
care.
Thanks. You
Bye.
too. Bye bye.